Hello everyone, and let's talk about how AI is making the one-person creative studio a reality. We have a recent study from the University of Montreal that uses an older model, more than a year out of date, of AI, specifically OpenAI's GPT-4 chatbot, to look at ideation and creativity, and compared it to humans and found that on average, this older model, which again is more than a year out of date and thus much worse than current models, already beat humans on average scores of creativity and ideation. Now, compared to that older model, top humans still performed better. But we don't know what would happen if the study was repeated with a newer model that's right now quite a bit better in ideation and creativity than it used to be. In fact, I ran a LinkedIn survey for folks in my audience. I have over 30,000 people who follow me on LinkedIn, and asking about top use cases for AI and brainstorming research analysis came out as the top use case for 70% of respondents. And I could only make one choice out of four. So that should tell you something about the importance of brainstorming, ideation, creativity for these new models. And this is just run, so it's using the newer model. Now, models, the GPT-4, for example, according to the Montreal study, excelled at divergent linguistic tasks and varied brainstorming. For example, it produced great original options for naming various things, for various hooks and taglines, for marketing. However, human judgment was still critical for selecting brand-appropriate ideas. So the AI is great for ideating, brainstorming, but not kind of for editing and customizing it to the strategy of the brand of a company. However, overall, the workflow enabled by AI turns hours of what was previously manual drafting into minutes. AI is thus transitioning from a novelty tool in the creative process to a core operating systems. Creative leaders are now, who are future forward and who know what they're doing, they're focusing much more on prompting, on user prompts and creating good user prompts and iterating effectively. Better prompting substantially improves model output quality, according to the University of Montreal study. Not simply, but of course with regular experience, I'm sure if you've used AI, you've seen that better prompting can get great outcomes. Teams thus depend on good high-level direction rather than drafting labor, and human roles are increasingly moving toward showrunning instead of actually writing the scripts. Leaders can tune AI models with context, just like they can teach junior human assistants. So artificial intelligence is thus turning into a real strategic partner instead of just an assistant in the creative process. Newer models are sustaining longer threads of thought, and they track complex human intent. AI can push back and reframe search spaces of what needs to be searched and investigated during collaboration. The partnerships eliminates the dead zone between the creative brief and the direction of the human. Creators can provide empathy and taste, while models are providing iteration and draft labor. And that higher creative output per person allows faster project shipping and many less people, honestly, working on a project. So the creative studio of the future, simply speaking, fits inside a single laptop, with routine ideation becoming abundant, while the unique taste of the decision maker stays secure. One high leverage, good quality creator with good taste can now manage what previously took an entire agency. Organizations thus must focus on governance and originality standards and use AI to create abundance, with many less people being necessary. So that's not great for many people who want to enter the creative industry, but it's great for people who are currently in the creative industry and are in the role of being tastemakers and shaping strategy and figuring out what is the best thing rather than ideating and creating new ideas. AI, in other words, creates ideation abundance. Humans editors, tastemakers, that becomes a scarce skill. The market value is shifting toward high-level concept strategy and mastery of tone, taste, and empathy. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe to this show wherever you checked it out and leave a review. It helps others discover the show and helps us improve the show. And if you have any questions, email me at gleb, Gleb, at disasteravoidanceexperts.com